Hey everybody, this is Mike. Welcome back to my shop, or just outside my shop rather. Anyway, I've got a kind of an odd job here, and I figured while I was doing it, I might as well go ahead and video it, document it. It's time for new tires on our coach, and I we've had this coach 8 years now. I put new steer tire, or when I negotiated on the price when I bought it, so it needed tires on the steer, so we went ahead and put new steer tires on. And move the steers to the tag. 2 years later, I wanted to keep everything matched, so I went against my better judgment. I went ahead and put these Goodyear G670s back on it, and I put them on the drive. So the drives have been on about 6 years now. I hate these tires. I wouldn't recommend them to anybody. The fronts are shot, and with only about 50,000 miles on them. I haven't really noticed any adverse handling effects per se, but they're not wearing very good. They're rivering really bad, and I know that seems to be one of the things on a lot of the forums and everything. But I'm here to tell you it is bad. My right outer is almost down to the cords. And the middles look pretty decent actually. So they're not feathering across the tires, so I don't get the feeling that I'm having to pull it or one way or another. I went ahead and had an alignment done. Since I'm spending so much money on tires, I'm going to take my 2 best drives, move them to my tag. I'm going to put 4 new drives and 2 new steers on. I've ordered the Michelin XZA2 Energy in a 295 80 22.5. So I'm going to pull these off. I had an alignment done the other day, just double check everything while I'm spending the money on the tires. And he says it's all within parameters, within specs. But it is off just a little bit. The drive axle does need to go forward, I think about a 1/16 of an inch or 5/32, something like that. I can't remember, I got it written down. And basically in the distance of the coach, as it's moving, as it's progressing forward, it's basically taking the rear tire, is landing about 1 1/16 further to the left in the distance of between the drive axle and the steer axle. So I'm going to go ahead, while I've got the tires off being mounted and balanced, I am going to actually go ahead and pull my control arms out of this side that position the axle fore and aft. I'm going to cut them and lengthen them to compensate for that, and weld them all back up, put them back in, and we should be dead nuts on. So I figured it's kind of an odd repair. So I'm going to go ahead and document it, and hopefully somebody will find it interesting. Okay, here's what I'm talking about as far as a crap tire. You can see here how uneven it's wearing. I had it sight back in 08 when I put these on. The inside's gone, and this is on the drive axle. And like I said, it's within spec on the alignment. So here you can see where I've got a good, probably 1/8 of an inch before I hit the wear bars. And here the wear bars are gone. Not just worn down and touching the wear bars are gone. And I guarantee you I've never locked the tires up on this thing and skidded it. So you can see in there, these are just about gone. So this is indicative of both tires, both sides on the drive axle. So needless to say, I'm excited to get these things the hell off of here. While we're talking about it, if you can see right there, this is made by Balance Masters. What these are is these are filled with a heavy metal, so that as it's driving, it's balancing not only I've got the tires balanced also, but it's balancing the drum, the hub, everything is a rotating assembly, rather than just have the tires balance, because you can have a drum off as far as out of balance. So these balance the whole rotating assembly. So I've got those on the tag, drive, and steer axle. Go ahead, move in a little closer here, and you can see where this 3-inch, I think it's 3/8 wall tube comes down, where the H beam sits in there and floats on the airbags. This column comes vertically down from the frame and attaches for the control arms for the drive axle. These have a tendency to crack up near the frame because they're just welded. They're just butt welded like that up against the frame. So back in 09, I followed Monaco pretty close on these. 03, this is an 03, but back in about 09 model year, I think it was 08, but so in the 09 model year, they decided to gusset that support. So I went ahead and went to my local Monaco dealer here, cut out some cardboard templates, and this is 3/8 inch thick plate. I think they use I think they use 3/8 if I remember right now, but I went ahead and made them and welded them all on to basically bring this up just the same as it was an 09 rolled off the Roadmaster chassis assembly line with. So now let's see if I can move this in here. You can see how it's gusseted up underneath there, and then it comes down and ties in almost all the way down to where the lower control arm mounts. So really beefed it up while I was working on it. I think it was 08 because I was putting the new drive tires on back then. So anyway, just a little history there on it. I'm running out of light here for the evening, but I wanted to at least show you what I've done here now. Went ahead and sprayed some PB Blaster on all my bolts for the control arms, and I'm just going ahead and breaking the last bolt loose. And I can't get my impact gun up on the back side because I've got an air tank up there in the way. So I've got my 3/4 drive proto ratchet here, and a 1 end 5/16, I believe it is. Yep, 1 5/16 socket. Got ratchet up behind there. I've got it wedged against the H-beam, the cross member. And I can't get enough leverage on this wrench to pull down on it. So I'm just going to go with a pry bar against the frame and leverage down on it. Oh shit, still can't budge it, so move a little bit more. Leverage is your friend, right? Like the old saying goes, give me a big enough lever and I'll move the earth. Okay, there we go. And these are all loose now and ready to pull one out at a time and lengthen it. So like I said, losing my light, I just wanted to get these bolts soaked and loosened. So this is here, bottom one's got play in it, so I'll probably do it first. What I'll do is I'll take some measurements, and then I'll pull the lower control arm or the link out, lay it up on the bench, measure it, and then I'll probably build a little fixture, just tack weld it to my welding bench to stretch it to dimension and weld it up. So probably continue on tomorrow. All right, just got the new tires offloaded off my trailer here, so do the trailing arm mod next. I picked up 2 brand new, well not brand new, but freshly powder coated inner steel wheels. My other ones were looking a little shoddy. We got the tires dismounted and noticed there was some rust on the inside, so these have been freshly sandblasted and powder coated. Cost me a little bit extra to swap out for these ones, but I wanted to put good ones back on the inners, so got the new Michelin XZA2 Energy, 4 of them, mounted up for the drive axle. These are in a 295 80 22.5 size. So I just got home from work and got these unloaded off the trailer. So now I'm going to get going on the trailing arms, or the control arms, whichever you prefer to call them. I'll be back when we got the arms off and on the welding bench. Okay, I've just kind of mocked up a little makeshift jig here. Clamped a piece of tubing to make a 90 here. Clamped a piece along the fringe of my welding table, which is true. Just make sure it's all squared up perfectly with the square. Slide this in there. This is my control arm, or trailing arm as Monaco calls them. Get a true measurement here. Overall length is 25 5/8. So I'm going to go out to 25 3/4 right on the money. So now that I know what it is, I'm going to go ahead and cut it, stretch it, put a piece of sleeve, weld it up, and paint, you throw a coat of paint on it and throw it back in. Okay, this is going to work out even better. I got it cut, and it was 2-inch OD I was hoping it was 1/4 inch wall, which would give me a 1.5 inch ID. I have some thick wall electro-welded ERW 1.5 outside wall, which will fit in there perfectly. I was prepared. I had some some sections of receiver tubing for making hitches. I had some of those kicking around, but I thought worst case scenarios I could sleeve it externally, which would work just fine, other than the fact that I really wanted to keep it the same thickness. So I was hoping this was 1/4 inch wall. All I have to do is go in and remove, in a couple inches, remove this weld seam from the electroweld tubing, or from the electroweld process in this tubing. Then I can go ahead and drill some holes for some rosette welds, bevel the edges. I'll insert this, and I'll probably cut a little bit more off the tubing because I'm only moving at 1/8 of an inch, which isn't going to give a lot of weld penetration. So I'll probably take another, probably another 1/8, maybe even a little bit more, because what I want to do when I'm welding is I want to tie this piece, the inner sleeve, and this all into one bead through there. So I want to get all 3 pieces. You don't want to just basically V it out and butt it up there. You're not gonna have any strength there. So by cutting a bigger section out here where I can get a clear path to this inner tube, weld both outer pieces, catch that inner one, and run around there, plus my rosette welds, it'll be every bit as strong, if not stronger, than it was before. So that's the plan of attack. Then I can just go ahead and just have a little weld bead around the perimeter, throw a coat of paint on it, bolt this one back in. Like I say, I think that will be a lot more aesthetically pleasing than sleeving this bad boy like that, which would work just fine. I just, while I'm here doing it, I want to make sure I don't want to make it look like somebody give a shit what they was doing here. So, all right, I'll go ahead and prep this. I'm going to get a rotary bit and get in there and get that weld cleaned up. Got some cobwebs in there, and get this cut back and prepped, and I'll be back when I'm ready to weld it. I've got it cut. I've got it clamped in my makeshift jig here. I ended up taking another, probably another 1/8 inch off the end, which would open this gap up, plus I beveled it enough to allow me to get full penetration to the inner sleeve, so I get good penetration to there, and then also all the way and bring it up flush around the perimeter. You want to make sure and get 100% fusion down to that inner piece, and then I've got 8 points where I can rosette weld it. So this should be just as strong, if not stronger, than original. And I think it goes without saying that this is a suspension component. You don't want this failing, so this is a very critical component. And welding skills, clamping, holding everything firmly, everything has to be up to snuff. So I think that goes without saying that this is a critical component. So if you don't feel comfortable doing something like this, definitely don't. You don't want to have this falling out on a 40,000-pound vehicle going 65 miles an hour down the interstate. Okay, enough said. I'll go ahead and get this welded and bring it back in.
Got a few minutes in between I'm letting the root pass on that trading arm cool, so I figured I'd get all nice and black. Bush aluminum polish is what I use on my wheels. Stuff works pretty good. These wheels are, the coach is an 03. I think this was built in about mid-02. So 13 years old, and these wheels still got a few nicks in them from previous owner that I've slowly been working on getting out. But for the most part, these are Accuride wheels, 22.5s. For the most part, they look pretty dang good. Just run around them with a coat of, when I first got them, they were neglected. I actually got after them with Tripoli, Jeweler's Rouge, and then the Bush's polish. But now I run around it with a wheel just by hand once, maybe twice a season, and it keeps them looking almost brand new. So, highly recommend. Okay, there's the completed unit, and overall length 25 3/4, right on the money. So mission accomplished. Move my axle forward 1/8 of an inch. So I run a root pass, and then I come back with a weave and tied in both sides in the root,
plus my rosette welds, or sometimes people call them a plug weld. So that's the completed job. I'm not even going to grind it down and make it flush. I'm just going to let this cool just a little bit longer, throw a coat of good high build paint on that with some primer so she doesn't rust on me, at least any more than the factory did, and bolt it in and do the same thing on the upper control arm or upper trailing arm. Okay, it looks like it's another late night here, but see if I can get some light up in there, and you can see there's the top one. I ended up cutting and welding it, and the lower one, cutting and welding it. I ended up moving the drive axle forward 1/8 of an inch. And I took all my measurements on the H, the cross member, under that the axle is welded to, and I took all of them and had some reference marks, and I'm 1/8 of an inch further forward, so it should put me dead nuts on in the middle of my specs. So next up is finish polishing some wheels and get new tires and wheels bolted on. Okay, so got the drive axle moved forward 1/8 of an inch, and I got the tag axle moved forward 1/8 of an inch because they were both paralleled. So boom, moved them both back. I'm just putting the new drive tires on now and torquing them all down. So once I get them torqued on, I'll put my crossfires on, my center cap, or my little stainless steel caps on the lugs, center cap, do the tag axle, run around the other side, and I'm done. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what it looks like with all the tires and wheels on.